welcome to another episode of Searching for McGuffin with your host, George.
Gabe.
And Link.
And Link's back.
I'm back, baby. And you know what else is back?
Baby got back.
Baby does have back. Those baby back ribs are back.
At Chili's?
At Chili's. But you know what else is back? Our social media is back. It was gone for like, how long was it gone for?
I don't know. When was
It
the social
was
media
gone?
gone? Yeah.
Exactly. That's how back we
Is this
are.
one of those yes and things? Yes, it was
That's
gone.
how back we are. It was never gone. But we're back. And you can follow us on social media. Instagram, S4M Podcast, right?
Yes, that's it.
Twitter, S4M Podcast, right?
Yes.
YouTube, S4M Podcast, right?
Well, youtube.com/S4M podcast, but yes.
Yes, /S4M Podcast. You can even find us now on TikTok.
We can?
TikTok.
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 That's right.
Tic-tac.
S4M Podcast, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. So not only do you get to listen to us or actually watch us, but you can also get the Chinese government get your information. So it's a twofer, baby. Twofer.
Wait, also, well, I mean,
Didn't an American company buy TikTok? Which is why they allowed
I
it to
think Bill
stay?
Gates
No, I don't
wanted
think so.
it.
I
You
think-
buy
no.
it, right?
Oh, Bill Gates wants to buy a lot of things. Also, your personal information. Too far? Too far?
He would never do that to
Well,
me.
you just talked about Twitter, and I think they also want your personal info. Yeah, why do we have all this stuff? There's just no way around it, right?
Yeah, there's no way around it. We sold our soul to social media, and now everyone knows our stuff.
So now tell them to do it.
Now you
Do it.
do it, do it.
Yeah. What is it? Like, subscribe.
Oh,
whatever.
like, subscribe us,
Subscribe us.
subscribe to us.
Subscribe to us like you subscribe to Twitter verified.
Exactly. Give us $8 a month, and guess what? We get
A blue check mark.
Mm.
That's right.
Oh, we should have done that before.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, right. We should have got
God,
a
we
blue,
should have. Yeah.
blue verified check mark.
Uh,
Oh well.
oh, no.
Next time.
Yeah. Next time.
Next time Elon Musk comes up with a dumb idea, which should be
It
often,
will
right?
be soon. Yeah.
Should be soon.
It'll be.
He's trying to make his money back.
Guys, remember when we used to hear that narrative that like Elon Musk was
A
like
genius.
the real life Tony Stark?
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness! How dare you insult Tony Stark like
Yeah,
that?
that was. You know what that was, by the way, right?
Because he was in Tony Stark and he was in Iron Man.
No, I mean that's not why. No, it's I think the internet, especially Reddit, really came up with this like persona for Elon Musk because
He made
They-
a future car.
well that too, but also there was a coordinated dissemination of accounts to create that narrative on Reddit and other social media.
He's the first
Okay.
WWE bot scammer.
Yes, he is. He is a bot spammer. Which, speaking of which, thank you to all our fans and all possible bot spammers out there. We appreciate all your love and support.
I was gonna say a joke, but I. Oh well.
The moment passed.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we'll never know what that joke is.
it was sending.
He's gonna say it.
That's why, because I couldn't think of the proper word for it, so that's why I'm like, oh, never mind.
You want to workshop the joke right here?
Yeah, it was. Oh, there you go. Sending like binary code love, like 001.
Binary love. That's
Binary love, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like
But
the
it,
title of your hit single.
binary love.
Not the word I was gonna use.
What word were you gonna use?
A phrase. He meant phrase.
I guess I
but
can't say
Don't
it.
worry. Yeah, I don't think you
The
can.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference.
Yeah.
Oh, title of my autobiography tape.
Sure.
Yeah. Video documentary.
Yeah.
Film. This week we've got a kind of a big drop in the media sphere.
Mm.
A big title released. It's one that we've been anticipating. Anticipating,
Yes.
is that the right word?
Yeah, man.
In case you don't know, we're talking about Black Panther,
That's right.
Wakanda Forever.
Black Panther is back, just like I'm back.
Well, is Black Panther back? What are we talking about when we talk about Black Panther? What or who is Black Panther?
Chadwick is Black Panther.
Chadwick
Okay.
is
yeah.
Black Panther.
Yeah. I feel the same way. So this was kind of a bittersweet release with a sequel to a movie not starring the actor who we came to know and love as the titular character. So what were your feelings heading into this one?
I was a big fan of the first one.
Yeah.
I thought the first one was great.
One of the best, I think, Marvel films.
Yeah.
And
Top
I mean,
five.
ever since Chadwick, I think, stepped on screen in Civil War, I think I've just always I've always really enjoyed watching him.
What was the first time you saw Chadwick?
I think it was that.
Civil War, yeah.
Oh, he might have been in like a minor role that I've seen before that I can't remember.
Was 42 before or after this?
Before.
I never saw.
Oh,
I saw that movie
42,
so much. Yeah, I did like Hero's Journey in a real life hero with Jackie Robinson in 8th grade. I watched the movie like 7-8 times a year, like for a couple of years there.
Yeah, I just remember. Well, I was a big fan of Black Panther, the actual comic book character, from his stories, and even I think what got me into reading some comics was that was one of those animated movies that they had with the Avengers.
Yeah,
and then they
meet Black Ultimate Panther. Avengers 2.
It was like ever since then I was just always like, man, Black Panther's super cool, and he became instantly one of my favorites. I think getting to see him in Civil War, like taking on Cap and Tony and all of them, I think it was, for me, that was super exciting. Civil War is one of those movies that it's like it's basically an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
What's the name of that actor that he voiced Black Panther in a show? He's in Gladiator. Digimon
Hansu.
Digimon Hansu. Yes.
He did. He voiced him in what?
Thought he voiced him in one of the.
Maybe it was in Ultimate Avengers 2.
Yeah, he voiced him in something, and didn't he get like a short show, like 8 episodes, like quick?
Oh, he did the voice in what it was is Reginald Hudlin's arc of the Black Panther comics was turned into a motion comic.
Yeah.
And then they released it on Netflix. Netflix picked it up. It had already been released as a motion comic, but it got a lot of traction. Yeah. And he was
in my
Black
mind,
Panther.
that guy should have been Black Panther. The actor should have been Black Panther. But by the time that they announced that they were going to introduce Black Panther to MCU, he was already kind of old.
But he was in Guardians.
No, he was in Guardians.
Yeah, but
he was in Guardians also, and he's also in the DCEU.
Yeah, but he plays older characters.
Yeah.
I don't think he was ready to like invest the next 10 years being like a young, spry Black Panther.
So I thought he should have been Black Panther. And then when I heard that Chadwick got it, I was like, "Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this guy." But then you see him in a movie with Civil War, and he's just immediately like, "All right, I completely forgot about Digimon."
His name
Digimon Houston.
It sounds like you're
Hansu.
saying Digimon.
Yeah, exactly. I completely forgot about Digimon Houston, and it was all Chadwick all the way.
That's a little disrespectful, but
I don't know his name.
Hansu.
No, that's not it either.
You're hearing me say it.
Hansu.
There you go.
Digimon Hansu.
So just pronounce like that? Digimon?
I don't know if it's Digimon.
It's DiGiorno.
I think it's Digimu.
Digimu?
Because it's like MOU, right?
Yeah.
Please forgive our ignorance.
Yeah.
We did not plan to talk about Digimon
Hansu.
The way that you like crawl to finish the name.
But yeah, I thought he should have been Black Panther, but man, Chadwick came in and just stole my heart.
Knocked it out of the park.
Exactly.
There's like he has like iconic lines all throughout that movie. But like when he's like they're captured in, I mean, spoilers for Civil War.
Really?
When they're like arrested, and then T'Challa's talking to Cap, and he's like your friend took my father away, and now like that leaves me with
my father.
That leaves me with the role
I don't think
of
you should
like
do the voice.
I thought I could do a good voice.
leaves me with the role of the mantle of king and Black Panther, and he's like, how long do you think you can keep your friend safe from me? After that, I'm like, bro, this guy's awesome.
How long do you?
I like how he just tells them that like he's gonna commit murder, like he's gonna kill someone, and then he just walks out on the conversation. I was like, that's some swagger.
Yeah.
Chadwick also played James Brown in the movie Get On Up. Did you ever see that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how was that?
I loved it.
Yeah, I bought it and I haven't seen it.
I just really like James Brown.
I love James Brown too. I don't know why I haven't. It's because there's like 100 movies a year, and you're always like, "Here's these 20 I really want to watch," and then 6 years pass, and
it
just never happened.
Watching Lord of the
and
Rings
it's still in your queue. It's in your watch list, you know. But yeah, like He was in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, right?
I think that was his last.
Yeah, for Netflix. It was nominated for awards. I haven't seen.
He ended
it
up
either.
winning, right?
I don't know.
Oscar.
I'm not sure. I can't verify that. I know the film won Oscars. I'm not sure if he won.
I think he won.
Yeah,
an
you
Oscar.
think he
I
won
was
it posthumously?
Yeah,
Mm.
because I believe his wife, ended up accepting it for him.
Mm. So many times on
Yeah.
this show, we talk about like titles, and I ask myself after the fact, like, why haven't I seen this? Like, I don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
it was so like on my top of my list at some point. It's just life gets in the way. But I mean, Black Panther 1 was the same way. Actually, Black Panther 1, I think, might be the first and only Marvel film that I did not watch on release day or release weekend or even release week. I think I saw something like 10 days later. Me and my wife were going through some personal grief, actually, a loss in the family around that time. And that was the first time that like real life got in the way of like all of this, you know? And it was, I don't know what it was. I don't know. I had a weird relationship with this film because I got a bunch of like feedback, like it's the best movie ever. And like the expectations were super high by the time that I got around to watching it. And then it was kind of underwhelming. I watched it like in a regular theater, like a small theater, instead of usually we go to Dolby or IMAX. I watched in a small theater like after a long day of work, and I was super tired, and I was expecting the best movie ever, and then I didn't get the best movie ever quite. And then I was kind of like, man, did I overhype it for myself? Upon a second and third watch, I came around to it, and I was like, oh, I see what the movie's like, what's so great about the movie. And then there's certain key scenes that I used in the classroom that really made me appreciate like everything from the costumes to the like the mythos and how it ties to this like Afro-futuristic world. Like it's so embedded in the culture that it's based on, but then drives it forward into almost like kind of like a parallel, timeline. And I grew to really love this movie, but it just goes to show you that sometimes the state of mind that you're in or the place where you are in life, it like affects the way that you perceive the events and the time. So Black Panther 1, what made this significant?
I think starting off, I think there was a lot of hype around the film. I mean, it was getting great reviews, and it was
like really early on, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I was excited. I was like, give me more Chadwick Boseman. Like, I was just really excited to see, especially like I said, I really like Black Panther. So for him to get his own film, to be able to see Wakanda live action is going to be, for me, that was going to be so exciting. The cast was great. Michael B. Jordan was in it.
Yeah.
And so I think them going head to head, I was really excited for that. Like you said, the costume designs, the set designs, I think the music was fantastic. I think all that stuff, like, I think plays into it. Because I was like, how are they going to make this feel different from the other movies that we've just seen? And it feels different, but it also feels like a Marvel movie from the Infinity Saga. I feel like we have to make a distinction now of movies that felt like it was in that saga versus what we're getting now.
They picked the perfect director to helm this movie.
Coogler,
yeah, man.
Yes, his films.
So,
Fruitvale was before this, right?
Fruitvale,
but then Creed was after. Okay.
But
Fruitvale, he came in,
yeah. And he brought in Michael B. Jordan from that. But they honestly picked the perfect director for that movie. His swagger was in the movie. That him getting Kendrick to be, score
the music,
right? It was just awesome, and and then afterwards you get Creed. It's like, bro, does this guy miss at all?
Yeah.
This guy's so good.
What else has he done?
I think he did student films and stuff like that.
Okay. But ever since he came, like emerged, it's basically just been Panther,
He's got
Creed,
two
and Fruitvale.
Creed movies, Fruitvale and Black Panther.
Yeah.
I think.
And an upcoming Creed movie too.
I don't think he's doing
he's
that
producing.
Oh, he's really? He's not directing.
Michael B is directing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is news to me.
And I mean, we saw the Creed through each other before this movie.
I still haven't seen it. I know you guys sent it, but
Oh, you were.
yeah.
You showed up late.
I don't come to the trailers. I don't. I'm not. And this is a problem for me and Link when we carpool because he's really like, let's get there for the trailers. And I honestly, I'm sorry, I forget that he's really into until like it's time to leave because I'm really not in a rush to get to the trailers. Like we have assigned seating, and I don't really have to see any of the trailers.
You did Judas and the Messiah.
Yes, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
That was a strong film as well.
There you go. Yeah.
It's interesting. That's a Black Panther film too. I was turning around to the mirror. You can't see it because it's like so much higher than me. But like Black Panther's there. Growing up in the '90s, Black Panther was such an icon of.
So he does Fruitvale Station, then he does Creed, and then he does Black Panther.
Okay, so Creed does pretty. So those are two big movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Creed before what?
Before Black Panther.
Oh yeah, I thought we said.
Oh, that's what I was asking.
Oh, I thought you said Fruitvale.
Yeah, no, he said. So, anyways, Black Panther, like growing up, was such like an icon of like, Black culture and African American culture.
Oh, no, he produces Judas and the Black.
He's just gonna keep.
Yeah. Oh, he did not direct Judas and the.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then, still, that's only just a few movies.
Yeah.
Anyways, going back to my topic, I remember in Spike Jonze's like "Do the Right Thing," which I saw so long ago, and I watched it again just a couple. Maybe like last year, I think I showed it to my wife for the first time. And then they have that moment where like they passed the Black Panther comic.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, that was one of the earliest. I was like, who is this guy? And then I knew about like the Black Panthers from history. And I was like, why would they name a superhero after the Black Panthers? Like, that's kind of controversial, especially when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But then you find out like, oh no, he's the inspiration for that name. And I don't know why you feel like comic books get street cred when they influence real world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're like, oh, this group took their name from a book, and I like comic books, so like this is cool. And it's just that like idea that this media that we consume and that we read and watch and entertain, that it actually spills over into the real world, and it affects actual change, and people gravitate around these ideas and they take them into real life situations.
Yeah, the life of the comic jumps off of the pages and into our actual life.
Mm-hmm. And I think that has a lot to do too with a lot of the ideas that were presented in Black Panther, a lot of the illustrations, and especially a lot of the topics with this new movie that came in. So, Black Panther 1. Excellent film. We all loved it. Why was it so important, and how does it lead into this second film? Like, what's that bridge between Black Panther 1 and Black Panther 2? Because there's actually a lot in between that goes on.
Yeah. I mean, you have Infinity War, where we see them again.
Endgame.
And Endgame. Yeah. I think Infinity War, like with the final battle actually taking place on Wakanda. In Wakanda. And even how it ends.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Infinity War. And they lose their king.
Yeah.
He's one of the ones that gets snapped, and
we thought it was hard losing Black Panther then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that hurt, like seeing him like just despair. And then
and remember the uncertainty too, because it's like you don't know what's on the other side. Like you kind of have a suspicion based on everybody that was snapped, like, okay, this isn't forever. But there's this anxiety of like, what if it is?
I mean, it's still happening in front of you. Like, I mean, just the ending of that movie, just like the music and everything going on, just like the despondent look that everyone has in that last shot. I mean, aside from not the shot of Thanos, but like the Avengers, like Cap's just like freaking out. Like, what happened? Thor's freak. Everyone's like, what the heck just happened? And Thanos just like finished doing what he was supposed to do, and the film ends, and you're kind of just like, what the heck just happened? I remember like the movie theater was silent when I was there.
Yeah, it was quiet.
It was quiet, and everyone's like, what? And then what was in between that one? That was Ant-Man was next, right?
Yes.
Ant-Man was next, and they have the end credit scene where they get snapped,
and
that just like triggered PTSD from Infinity War for me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, not again! Here we go. And then Captain Marvel, and then Endgame comes out.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I was just thinking about this the other day. Chadwick Boseman only got to be Black Panther for one movie, but He was in Civil War. He was in Infinity War. He was in Endgame. So he portrayed it 4 times at least, not counting his episodes in What If, the animated series where he voices. That's the last time he'll, reprise that character. So I mean, he only got the first film, but he got to create a connection with us over 4 movies and 2 animated episodes for those that watched What If. That's a run. It's a run that you don't really see it that way because he's not primary.
Oh
but
no, yeah. I mean, the thing for me, I feel like to me he is primary to me. He's like, he is T'Challa as much as Tony is, as much as Robert Downey Jr. is Tony, or Chris Hemsworth is Thor. Like to me,
or Chris Evans is Cap,
I feel like to me he's on that tier. Like we have the big 3, but to me T'Challa's on. He's S tier. He's on that list. He's right next to them for me at least.
Yeah, he's on almost like greater than like even. I mean, God bless him because they're all great. But Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye,
Bucky.
Bruce, Mark Ruffalo's, Hulk, Black Panther's a tier above him.
I mean, just stuff like there's just stuff that I just remember that I just remember. This is so cool. Like in Infinity War, when Cap comes back to Wakanda and they see each other and he's like, "Get this man a shield," and then, or like when
get this man a shield.
No, the part where I thought was amazing was when they're like running to battle.
Yeah.
And like Cap and him are like kind of like racing,
like sprinting,
speed,
right?
Oh my god!
That's so awesome.
It was super cool, and just seeing them fight.
I mean, I like an Endgame when everyone's doing the run for the final battle, and then M'Baku is like right there with like running next to the Hulk, and I'm like, how is this possible? But I'm here for it.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, like, even when you get to Endgame, man, like him being the first person to come out of the portals.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like Return of the King, bro. It was just like, it's goosebumps. It's like that whole scene is just.
It's crazy too because it's like, they don't know, but it's almost like they knew. It doesn't it just lines up.
But the way that everything ends up happening.
His character trajectory is it's interesting. His death and return and.
Yeah. And I guess we could talk about that when the news broke.
Yeah.
This is over the pandemic, I believe.
Yeah.
When I was in bed and I saw a post, I saw I think it was CNN, and I was like, what? That looks like it says Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me. My brain couldn't compute.
I was like, what? What is that? And then because I think at the beginning of the year we had Kobe, and that one to me, I was like, what? That's not real. It's not Kobe Bryant. Like, no way. And then you find out, you see all the other news outlets like start reporting it on social media, and it's like, at some point, it's like shock sets in. You're just like, that's not what? How is this real? And I don't know, like maybe it was the fact that Chadwick obviously he was a real person. He was his father. He was a husband. He was an actor. But I don't know, like to see some of these people that like you look up to, like these people in these roles, especially like if it is a role like Black Panther, where they're the hero, they're the main character in their story, and it's like, yes, like it's not real life, but their persona is a little bit like larger than life.
Yeah.
And to me, it's kind of just like, no way. Like how would this even happen? And you look into it, you start Googling, you start reading a bunch of stuff. No one really knows anything the first couple of hours, but then like you get more information as time goes on, and just reading about it, I was sick to my stomach. I was just so sad. And it's like, I didn't know the guy. But it's like, I don't know, you just kind of feel for people that it's, especially when it's so unexpected. And then to hear his story, like how he's been battling with this and like how they kind of knew.
Who's they?
Like I know that he had mentioned it I feel like he had mentioned it. I mean, his family, obviously.
Right.
He was sick. And people could tell that something wasn't right, but they didn't know. Like they weren't open about it.
They were making fun of him for being so skinny.
Yeah. Like he'd
whenever
make appearances.
when he make appearance, like the internet would make fun of like, oh, why does he look so skinny?
And
thanks, internet.
And then people afterwards are like, oh, like he always looks sick and stuff. Like he looks sick, and it's like, But
it's crazy how not sick he looked when he needed to not look sick, though. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the amount of work and dedication that he was putting in while battling this, it's
incredible.
it's
man.
crazy.
And to not say a thing, to not say like a word to like the public and stuff like that,
Yeah.
or like to like the people that know you. I don't know. To me, that's insane. But yeah, I was pretty devastated when I found out. It was really sad.
Which sounds like a ridiculous thing to say about a complete and total stranger,
You never knew.
but grief is real. Like it affects us in way different in different manners, you know, on different levels, but you feel something, you know, for these people because they're a part of your life in an indirect but no less real way.
No, I mean it's the way like they're artists and you know they create art and certain people gravitate towards certain types of art.
Right.
And you know, art speaks to people in different ways. Like people connect to it in a variety of different ways, and this was just one of those things where I gravitated towards him. I connected with what he did as an actor, and like you said, it's a part of you. It's a part of like you living and going about your day. And sometimes these stories make those days a bit easier. Sometimes either it's a distraction or a way to propel you forward, or for you to find hope or whatever it is in certain crappy situations.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to hear the story of like how someone suffers but it like then they pass on. It is sad. And like you said, grief is real, and it affects everyone differently, I think.
It also depends, like, what he represented to the African American community.
Yeah.
I mean, you said like they had, you know, Kobe had died recently, right?
Yeah.
And what Kobe represented to the African American community. Now you get both of them within the span of, I'm not sure how, maybe
It was a couple months.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
6. I think he died
Kobe died in January.
January, and I think Chadwick died April, May, March, around there, right? It's like it's a big loss. You get me? You
Yeah.
lose people that are,
And you're still reeling from the
staples,
last one.
Yeah, there's staples in your community, right? Like even though
August.
No, August. Okay, yeah. Even though you know, the character is fake. What Black Panther represents to the
We prefer the word scripted.
scripted. What
we
Black
don't use
Panther
the F word.
represents to the African, American community. It's like, wow. I remember like one of the reasons why that movie did so well, why everyone was loving it, is because you had a whole community coming, hey,
Yeah.
this is our movie. You know, you guys have had all your Thors and your Iron Man. This is our movie. That's what they were preaching. You get me? And you watch it and you're like, yeah, because it celebrates your culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does it in a great way, and like I love what you said. You know, it's parallels of what Africa is and what it can be. You know, with all the futuristic technology, with all the technology they have there. So it's I don't. I'm not African American, but I can understand like, wow, you lost someone very important.
You can feel for people.
You can feel for people. Yeah, you can have empathy. Yeah, I mean, even then, he's important.
It's just like we're three brown dudes, and like we're not the best to be the voice for that community, but we totally can empathize and sympathize. And we've been in similar situations. We have many of the same struggles, and in terms of representation, like there's an overlap between our communities as well too.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And, you know, part of especially the Hispanic community is also Afro-Caribbean, you know, South American, you know, Afro culture. And there's an overlap there. But we always have to put ourselves in that situation where it's like, we don't really know what this means to someone who it's really for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you can see its significance and you can quantify that to some degree.
You can definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And I think we get a little bit of that before we get ahead of ourselves. I think we get a little bit of that in this new film. But before we get to Black Panther 2, what were some of those setbacks, those making of? Like, I'll say, I've said this like multiple times. I say this all the time in conversations day to day. I do not envy the tasks that these filmmakers had going into Black Panther 2.
I did not. envy Ryan Coogler.
Mm-hmm.
After the death of Chadwick, I'm like, he had an impossible task to do.
Yeah. And there's
it's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
and there's no like right answer.
There's no right answer. Like this.
Should they not make another Black Panther?
Should you not make another Black Panther?
Yes, don't make another Black Panther. But does there need to be another Black Panther?
Yeah,
yes, there needs to be another.
You need to conclude this story.
Exactly.
So you're already making this story. You're writing it. You're in pre-production, right?
Yeah.
And then this happens. Do you scratch off the whole project?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now, if we were excited for it, like I mentioned, the African American community was also excited for it. So if you cancel this movie, it's not only a disservice to us, but to the whole community as well.
Right. Black Panther can't die because Chadwick died.
Yeah.
But also Black Panther is dead.
Yeah.
So
what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that's the major setback. Obviously, it's the unfortunate loss of Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
And like, even aside from losing, I mean, like, for them, it's like losing a friend.
Yeah.
For others, like losing a brother. It's losing someone very important, someone like that meant a lot to you, and you have to find a way to deal with grief, but also like understand that, like, obviously there has to be another movie.
You have to move on,
and you have to move on, and you have to work through it, and it's like, how do you make a story when you lose your main character?
Yeah.
And
who is an icon?
That's just such a big character. Like,
imagine if like Robert Downey Jr. was gone before Iron Man 2.
I can't. And it's like Ryan Coogler had that job to do, and amidst like the pandemic was another big struggle, setting back dates, and I remember just films in general, or productions in general, trying to get started, trying to film.
Yeah, you never know when these movies
having to, like, people getting affected by COVID, and they having to close off for 2 weeks and stop, like, go on and off, and pushing those dates back. I think that
I honestly believe that Marvel is still rearing from the COVID setbacks. I think that a lot of the problems that we have with like windows and order of events and like maybe even the CGI stuff and scripting, I think it has to do with that kind of shuffling. Because, and again, we're going to talk about Black Panther 2 in just a minute, but I think sometimes like the things that they have to set up, they're not fitting as tightly and as well planned because they have to be set up now, even though it might not be the right time.
Yeah.
You know, this movie had to lift a bunch of stuff, and it already has the Boseman conundrum to deal with. And it's kind of a shame that it has to also service so many other things.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's how it is in these movies now, in these Marvel movies, is that you kind of just have to throw in a plug here, throw in a plug there for what's coming next. That can change. It's kind of just like, oh, what, that doesn't really fit there. But yeah, like the COVID setbacks. I know there were certain issues with what's her name? Shuri? Letitia Wright. Certain stuff, I guess, or she was
a little controversy on set, whatever it may be.
And so, I mean, all of that goes in together where a lot of people, and I mean, I think we even talked about it a bit. It's like, man, like, that movie, is that a movie ever going to be made? Yeah. Like, that movie has so much to fight
but it has to be made.
The uphill battle that movie has to like go through to cross the finish line and get out in theaters. It's going to be tough, man. Like, with everything that you are kind of going against it.
Yeah.
And that's why I guess I was anticipating. I'm like, I'm interested to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, you're rooting for it. You wanted to do well. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, you saw the first one. The first one means so much to you, and you know that these people are going to work their butts off.
You knew the potential the second one could have, and then this happens. You're like, man, I still want this to be great. I still want everyone to do well.
You don't want to try and like knock something down. It's like, oh, because you lost your lead, because you lost your star, you think it's like, oh, this movie is gonna suck. It's gonna be bad.
And
it's
it's nobody's fault.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There's no one to blame.
Control that, yeah.
Exactly, and
except for maybe cancer.
Yeah, that's true.
Forget cancer. F cancer.
Yeah.
The F is for forget.
And Anchor.
No, forget Anchor.
No, but I think that I was anticipating. I was excited for it because it's one of those things that I was so happy with the first one, and the second one for me was just I just wanted it to come already, especially like finally getting him back after Endgame and seeing where the future was going to take us. Was really excited to see what they were gonna do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel like these people have had so much like, yeah, they had so much going against them, but they also had a lot to hope for and to work for in this film, like, you know, as a tribute to Chadwick. I just knew that everyone was gonna do the best that they could with what they had.
Okay, so I think it's time for us to talk about our first reactions to Black Panther 2 or Black Panther Wakanda Forever. With that being said, I think we're going to do things a little different. We're not going to go into plot spoilers just yet. But if you haven't seen it and you don't want to know literally anything, we're going to talk about characters, our responses, our reactions. We're not going to tell you exactly what happens in the film, but to react, we're going to tell you how we feel about certain things. So we'll leave out details, but fair warning, if you haven't seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever, before anything, go watch it, right? I think.
Yeah.
Do it for Chadwick.
Yeah. Go. I mean, I guess. I think
Go
Disney's probably going to reap a little bit more than he is, but go watch Black Panther Wakanda Forever. What are you doing? Are you listening, Dan? Go watch. Producer Dan, we know you're on the call. Go watch.
He hasn't watched it?
No. And we're about to spoil it. But not just yet, okay? But we will give you our reactions to certain things. So, first reaction now. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. What do you think?
So, like I said, Ryan Coogler has not missed, right? Fruitvale, Creed, Black Panther 2, Creed 2. We know what he can do.
Yeah.
Right? And then this happens. And then the death of Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, that's where I was like, I thought it was going somewhere else.
And then this movie happens.
And then Wakanda Forever happens.
Right? So I had high expectations. However, I guess I was more merciful. I guess more gracious. Like I'm more forgiving and understanding. Like if it's not it's not the best movie pop. You get me?
Because it's not the best
if
scenario.
it's not as good as Black Panther 1, right?
Right.
Well, so that's how I went in, and I wasn't completely
in love with it.
Yeah, I wasn't in love with it.
Okay.
I thought it was good. I think it's his weakest film, but if this is your weakest film, then you have a good library. You get me? This is
right. If this is your weakest film, then
you're still great. Yeah, like wow.
Yeah, you're a great director.
Yeah, because directing is pretty. It's a lot of directing is being creative to solve problem solving.
Yeah.
And good luck solving this problem.
Yeah.
You get me death. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I don't think I'd be watching this movie again soon.
Why? Not because of the quality of the film.
Not the quality of no, not at all. But for a Marvel movie, you watch Black Panther 1, the first Black Panther. I'll watch that movie like maybe 5, if I could.
Yeah.
Multiple times throughout the year. This movie isn't as entertaining as the other one.
Would you say uplifting?
It's because of the emotions behind it. So it's like it's not a movie I would watch multiple times throughout the year.
Yeah. It's a stage of grief I don't want to wallow in.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about you, Gabe?
I liked it. I actually saw it again.
Yeah, you saw it twice within
I
24
I
hours.
don't know how you did that.
That's 6 hours.
My
including
friend,
trailers.
my friend wasn't able to. He was working at the time, so he wasn't able to go with us opening night. So we went the next day.
He must not be a Black Panther fan.
Oh, he loves Black. I got home last night and he was watching the first one. He was finished watching the first one. I liked it, and I think upon watching the second time, I think I was able to be more immersed, I guess is the word.
I think we talk about this sometimes on our first. We're on pins and needles.
Yeah.
So you don't really get to digest as much because you're like processing.
Yeah, no. I enjoyed it. I think Link was on. It probably is Coogler's weakest film, but that's not to take away from the film. I think it's just with the situation, everything going on. If that like with everything that happened and that's what comes out of it, I take it as a win.
That's solid, yeah.
I think the movie was good. I don't think that I think we talked about this. I think the movie has high points and And like you said, I mean, you'll probably say it. But
Yeah, I think I've said it to everyone I've had a conversation with about when this movie is good, it's great.
Yeah.
When it's not,
it's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. I think
it's never bad. It's never bad.
No, and you could see definitely similarities to the first one, the car chase sequence.
Those are the best parts when the movie is, because that's what's beautiful about this. Marvel movies and sometimes sequels in general, they don't tend to service the original one.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've seen that a lot lately with the last Thor, with the last Doctor Strange. You know, they're not going back and building on what the individual title films have been building. Yeah. And I think that when this movie is a direct sequel to Black Panther 1, man, those are some of the best moments. Like,
oh yeah. Like you feel like some of the magic from the first one sprinkled on this one a bit, and those moments are just they are great.
Yeah.
I think as a whole, I think we talked about this. It was I feel like the movie was a mixture of the movie that it wanted to be, that it was going to be in the original running, and then the movie that it ended up having to be.
Right.
With everything that happened.
And not just that. I also think one of the things is then pitching to other projects. It has to do that, and that takes up like a good 20 to 30 minutes of the movie. And I feel like it's 20, 30 minutes that cut from the runtime would have made this a more focused film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There was definitely moments where it just did kind of feel like there was way too much going on. I'm like, what is happening? But overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I definitely enjoyed it.
I think the runtime also affects its
long, right?
Its replay value. It's about 245.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, it's about 240, 245. With trailers, it's 3 hours. It's a 3-hour experience in the movie theater.
Yeah, I remember I was watching it at 10, and you were like, "Oh, you're getting out 1," and I'm like, 3 hours, and I'm like, oh no way, it really is 3 hours.
Yeah, you walked out past 1, I would think. Yeah. Because with the trailers, it's a 3-hour experience plus getting there and coming back. It's like that's your whole night, that's your whole afternoon right there, you know. And so that definitely cuts into the replay value, especially because, like Link said, it's not this like overjoyed experience. You know what I mean? You go back from Infinity War and Endgame, because you got these like super cool highs.
That's the thing. Even with Black Panther, when Black Panther 1 is like a celebration. Like, it's just like a party throughout the whole movie.
It really is, yeah.
And I mean, I think we'll talk.
I think they try that a little bit here,
and I think we'll talk. I think we'll get into it more. We have character moments, but I mean, obviously, I guess we could talk about how they address Chadwick.
Yeah, let's go. Let's jump right into it.
The first thing they do in the movie.
The first thing they do is we say goodbye to Chadwick,
and I think that was expected, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know that there was a lot of like people discussing about what they're gonna do, recast or bring back Killmonger or Shuri's gonna be the new Black Panther or whatever they were gonna do. And everyone's really interested, but I think this was the best course of action that they could have done.
Mm-hmm. And it feels like a little. If this was any other situation, it would feel like a cop out. Yeah. This is the kind of thing you do in a sequel to a movie where you can't afford or you have a falling out with the star. But because we're all in on the reason, it's like, this is the only thing you can do. Yeah. Like, we accept it. But it would ring hollow like in any other situation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they gave him, I think it was honestly all really pretty close to mirrored his the real life situation, right?
Yeah.
An illness, him not really mentioning it, keeping it to himself.
Yeah.
And
T'Challa got secrets.
Yeah, and more than one.
Yeah.
And so I think during like the funeral scene, this is one of the first things that we see, and it was just like, it wasn't mournful. It wasn't like no one was wearing black. Everyone was in white.
Yes, there's a lot of dancing, a lot of music, which was beautiful.
Joyful music.
Yeah,
and
everyone's crying. Don't get me wrong; they're weeping.
Yeah, everyone's like bawling their eyes out. And there's a shot where like there's like a mural of T'Challa, and like the drums start pounding a little louder, and it's like
I could see people in the theater breaking at that moment already. Like, I don't know if you looked around.
It was the beginning, and there was a moment where it was like I was getting emotional. I was just like straight off the bat, and like the quiet intro, the Marvel logo, kind of being of him, like just all his scenes and
I thought
stuff
that was
like
beautiful,
that.
man.
Yeah. Which is interesting because I know they did something like that for Black Panther 1 on Disney Plus. They went back and did a Boseman only intro,
Oh, yeah.
but it still has the audio that starts the Black Panther movie. So this one's completely quiet, open, and that would set the tone, I think, for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we got some character moments. What was the standout like for you? What were some of the standout characters in this film?
You want to start?
Lupita's character was awesome.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Lupita Nyong'o.
She plays
Nakia.
Nakia.
So yeah, I thought she was awesome. I loved her.
She's really great, man.
She's great, yeah.
She's a great actress.
Great actress. So
An expanded role
So
because she had such
smart.
a small role in the first one.
Seen her speaks multiple languages. I thought that was pretty gangster.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Lupita Nyong'o is like
She's Mexican.
raised in Mexico.
Born in Mexico.
She was born, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She was born in Mexico, so she speaks fluent Spanish, and it was great to like give her an opportunity to
flaunt that,
yeah.
flex that. And then her French as well, I guess.
It gives Nakia so much depth because in the first movie they're like, she's a spy. She can like break into anywhere and like blend in, and you see it like in this movie.
Yeah,
where you're like, oh, that makes sense. That didn't ring hollow. Like,
I mean, it was kind of funny, just like being in a movie theater in Miami. And she starts speaking Spanish, and I can literally hear everyone's like, "Oh,
yeah.
Wow." I think she did really good.
The amount of Spanish in this movie. At some point between the dialect that the Wakandans speak and Namor's people are called the what again?
Avatars?
Yeah, no.
Navi.
No,
Navi?
neither of those are correct. But
this movie should have been called Black Panther Way of Water.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking was that this movie should be nominated for best foreign language. I don't think they call it that anymore. I think it's international film now, but what used to be foreign language film because there's so much subtitles in this movie, like which I appreciate, like the kind of native tongue. I think that was interesting, and for her to be a part of that, I think that was great. Who else? Who else was a standout character for you? I think a lot of people are going to be talking about Queen Ramonda, played by Angela Bassett.
Yeah, she was great.
She did so good, man. So she was shredded. Like I was like, I gotta hit the gym.
Right? And that's funny to see, like an older woman, and be like, that she made me feel bad. I'm like, I need to put in some more reps in. Like, I woke up the next morning and like hit the gym and put in an extra long session because of the guilt that I felt from seeing Angela Bassett and what great shape she is in.
Yeah,
and her acting chops.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, she like had the she had the physicality of the role, but
I thought she was gonna be Black Panther. By the way,
yeah. At some point,
when I saw those arms, I was like, "Is she putting on the suit?
Put the suit on."
I thought, I think that would have been pretty cool.
I think that would have been.
I might have preferred that.
I mean, no spoilers on who is Black Panther yet, I guess.
I would have preferred that.
If you've seen a trailer or seen a like toy box or
just have access to the internet,
yeah.
I think she did fantastic, and I think watching it the second time, I appreciate it so much more. I don't know what it was, but
I think she carries the dramatic chops of this film, especially very early on.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you can see, I mean, trying not to go too much in, but you can see like a mother who has lost a child.
Yeah.
And grieving through that, and how protective she is of the one that she has left.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel it in every scene that she's in, the weight that she carries on her shoulders. And she's captivating, man. Like the speeches that she gives, I don't know. There's certain scenes where she doesn't have to say a thing. Yeah, it's just like her posture and she's such a good actress.
Yeah, and her character services those moments where she loses her husband in Civil War, when she loses her son now at the beginning of this film, and it's like you're rewarded for all those things. So many of her relationships are built on the events of Black Panther 1 and Civil War and things like that. For her to have been a minor character,
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, what's another character I can think of? Freya from Thor.
Yes.
And it's like the mother figure, the mother character, where it's like offers the advice. And I think that they expounded upon that queen. I think they expounded upon that. Where she, like, Freya has her like badass moments, but Ramonda, like, I feel like is a version of that character, but more like elevated. They give her more to do. She's more of a focal part of the story than I think she is in the first one.
She is the main queen.
Yeah. She's the queen, and it's like the movie doesn't necessarily feel like there's one character.
Yes.
That is the star of the show, that is the lead. And that's not to take away any, I mean, spoilers, but there's not to take away anything from Letitia Wright.
Right.
But it just feels like everyone's putting in a shift.
You know, and that's interesting that you say that, because the movie is almost like structured in the geopolitical landscape of Wakanda. The head has been cut off, and the tribe as a whole has to kind of pick up the slack.
Everyone has to pull their own weight.
Yeah, because what happened here was T'Challa opened up the doors for diplomacy, but then he wasn't there to see it through, to carry it out. Exactly. And it was like, and now it puts them in a vulnerable situation, and it puts them at conflict with the very people that T'Challa would have built bridges. He talks about building bridges, you know, and the end credits for Black Panther, and he wasn't there to see the construction. We just have the remnants of what that roadmap looked like.
Yeah. And I mean, that's, as much as it is a movie, I think it also speaks to the realities of life. This wasn't planned. This wasn't something that was supposed to happen, but it is in, like,
life's messy.
Yeah. And it kind of is, it just mirrors the reality of life, and how you have to roll with the punches and try and find a way forward with that. But yeah, I think Queen Ramonda did she does a fantastic, Angela Bassett did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Shuri's another one. I mean, our lead, full spoilers if we're going to go into it a little bit. I think it's difficult to talk about Shuri without giving away not something, you know what I mean? So Shuri is the person who's going to, on some level, inherit the mantle. That doesn't mean what we thought it might have meant, because I think it takes more people to fill the shoes of T'Challa than...
Well, because, I mean, that's the thing. I like going back to that scene I said where it's like T'Challa was Black Panther in Civil War, but his father was king.
Yeah.
So once his father dies, he has to, because I always thought like Black Panther is the king, and I think that's how he is in the comics.
Yeah.
But those two roles aren't always going to be the same thing. Like the Black Panther isn't always the king or the queen. So it's like now it's interesting because it's like you have that separation again, because T'Challa was king and Black Panther. He had a double weight on his shoulders between having to protect his nation and having to rule his nation.
Yeah.
And the fact that now that he's gone, who's gonna pick that up? And like we said, it's an all hands on deck kind of situation.
Absolutely.
His mother has to step into the role as sovereign queen, and there isn't a Black Panther from where we start.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, because the what Killmonger did, he got rid of the herb and they couldn't get another one. They couldn't make another one.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you think the creative?
I bet they regret that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What do you think the creative idea behind destroying the plant in Black Panther 1 was? Do you think it was to close, like, there being another Black Panther besides Chadwick?
I think it's like someone's gonna find a way. Someone's gonna find a way to exploit this and make a bunch of them. So let's get rid of it. And I think Marvel does a good job, again, calling back to Civil War, where I think that the final battle is going to be the Avengers versus a bunch of super soldiers.
Yeah.
And it's not. And it kind of like
subverts
expectations. And I feel like that's kind of like where
they're heading.
Way. Yeah. And it also gives the character of Killmonger a bit of agency. It gives him a bit of like, now this guy means business. Like, I mean, he got rid of Forrest Whitaker's character. Like, he's there for chaos, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
And I
dressed as Vegeta.
Exactly. And
You know, I didn't see those memes until this movie for some
Really?
reason. Yes, I had never seen it
I didn't
before.
know there was those memes.
yeah,
Yeah.
they are. But yeah, so I think that I forgot where I was.
Something about
herb.
Vegeta. No, I'm just kidding. Getting rid of the herb.
Getting rid of the herb, and I mean the way that they tackle that situation, I was kind of like, I get it. All right,
You have to.
I'll let
yeah,
it go.
Yeah. There's no way around it.
Yeah. So Shuri has impossible shoes to fill,
Yeah.
and I think she does a good job in certain aspects, and I think that sometimes the task may be a little too tall in others.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite part of her journey, and I don't know if you picked up on this. I mean, I'm sure you picked up on it, but it impacted me greatly was her like crisis of faith,
Yeah.
where it seems like Shuri has to face herself, what she does or doesn't believe in. So many times we live life kind of existing in whatever circles we're either born into or end up in, the systems of belief or churches that we're born into, the companies that we decide to work for and end up staying, longer than we expect, the political environments that we find ourselves in. And Shuri, it seems, has never really been honest about how much she really doesn't buy into all of this Wakandan Black Panther-ish mythology. And she always came off as M'Baku would say, a kid who, what's the quote?
Scoffs at tradition.
Scoffs at tradition. And she would play into that. But at the end of the day, it seems like she really didn't believe in upholding any of those traditions. She finds herself in a desperate moment, crying out to her God, Bast, for the strength to save her brother, and is unable to. And from then, it kind of just entrenches her in this agnostic, if not atheist's perspective.
Yeah.
Angry.
Yeah, she's angry at everything she doesn't even believe in. And that relationship between her and her mom is that trying to pass on, like you said, the mantle of Black Panther. For her mom, it's trying to pass on a set of traditions and beliefs that are inherent of a people, and facing the possibility of that line being cut off with Shuri. Will she take this mantle? Will Wakanda live on forever, or is this the end of Wakanda?
Yeah, I mean, because you have a character like T'Challa,
Mm-hmm.
who in a sense is like the golden boy.
Embodies.
Exactly, like he carries the culture, he carries tradition, he does what he has to do and doesn't get mad, he doesn't complain, he does what he has to do. Like, he's driven by duty and honor in a sense,
but not blinded by it.
Exactly.
Able to go against the norm when he sees.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what makes that character so rich. That's what makes that character so good, because you see that in Civil War, the whole part up until the end of that movie, he is driven by duty blindly.
Yeah.
He's like, I have to get vengeance. I have to get revenge for the person that killed my father, because this isn't gonna stand.
Yeah.
And he's angry, but he also has something that, as his duty as the Black Panther, that's what he has to do. Like, we see that in Black Panther 1 when when Claw comes in. When Claw escapes and they hate Claw, and they're like, oh, we need to get vengeance on Claw. He snuck into here.
Yeah.
Wakanda has a very just seems like a very strict way of doing things, where it's they're very there's not a lot of mobility in that. You can't really move around. There's not a lot of wiggle room.
Kind of stubborn.
Exactly. They're pretty stubborn, especially that council.
Yeah. That just makes terrible decisions every
single time.
Yeah.
So with T'Challa being in that role, I don't think people really looked at Shuri like that. They were she's a young girl. She can get she gets a pass to do kind of whatever she wants, because we have someone like T'Challa that is in that seat, that is in that role, that we don't have to worry about. We don't really have to worry about anyone else.
Right.
T'Challa gets taken out of the equation. What do you have left? Mm-hmm. Your future doesn't seem like a future that's gonna uplift the culture, uplift the traditions of your people.
Right.
And that's a bit worrisome. But at the same time, it's this is your daughter. This is your family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I mean, I'm not a parent, but as a parent, I feel raising a child and then realizing that she's not really the person that you kind of thought she was, or like she didn't
Or that
necessarily stick to all
you
this
would
stuff.
like her to be, or that the greater good needs her to be.
Exactly. And I think it's tough. And I you saying that at the very first line, she's praying to Bast. When it's in a sense, it's like, does she even really believe in Bast? But it's like one of those prayers. I mean, like,
I think it's a desperation prayer.
it's a desperation prayer. It's like
Hail
one of those
Mary.
things. It's like,
yeah, because I think they address later on that like you've never really, like her mother says it, like she knew all along, you've never really believed in any of this stuff. It's like what Link said, a Hail Mary.
yeah. And
And it's a journey that she has to go through.
Yeah.
Because it's in this journey where she's able to find what she's missing. You get me?
Yeah.
If she doesn't go through this journey, she's gonna continue being the same person.
Yeah.
I mean, continue being the same as Three who doesn't believe. You get me? Who scoffs at traditions. Now she's more prepared to be next leader of
exactly.
Wakanda.
And there is a quote by one of the characters we're going to touch on next, I think, where he says, where he's having a conversation, and he says like, "Oh, my ancestors would say like, only the people that have gone through the like, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but only the people that have gone through like the hardest situations or the toughest times."
I think he says only the most broken people.
only those broken people can make the best leaders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I think that like
That
just
resonated with me.
all that goes into like time, because it's like this girl is going through so much in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having to, like, you can see the differences between T'Challa having to pick up all that stuff and like run with it, and how he excels, and how he's kind of like been groomed for this since he was a kid.
He is not.
And like she wasn't.
Yeah.
She's
has
I
to
mean,
learn
it's
on
not
the
like second
fly.
son. She's like a second daughter.
Yeah.
And like just having her like being put in a situation where she loses someone that she loves so much, but so much is being forced upon her and like being asked of her to complete. I think Letitia Wright does a great job in like really act like kind of portraying that like person in a panicked world, people, someone that's confused and just distraught, but also angry.
Yeah.
And I think I got that more the second time. The first time I was kind of just I didn't really pick up on that as much. I think the second time I got it a bit more.
I love that metaphor that Link used, the Hail Mary pass, because it's when you throw a Hail Mary, your probability of success is not
very low. Yeah.
It's very low, right? So it's like you want a miracle, but in a sense you haven't worked for that miracle.
Yeah.
Because is she praying in faith? Like if she doesn't believe, like Bast doesn't have anything to prove to Shuri, you know? And then there's that conversation between her and her mother, you know, about a construct. Like she says, her mother says that she feels T'Challa with her, and Shuri just kind of shrugs it off like that's
she shoots down her mom in the middle of like a heart to heart.
Right. It's like, and basically to paraphrase, she's like, that's just a coping mechanism, you know? But her mom challenges her, what's your coping mechanism? And does it work for you? Is your life better because of your disbelief?
And I mean, that's the thing. That's like, I guess the root of it. It's like, does it matter?
Yeah.
Like if it actually is like to her a spirit, or to her, like, does it work for you? Like in your mind, like, and I mean, that's a whole, I guess, another can of worms, but like just when she was saying, when she like retorts that, and like when Ramonda says it to Shuri again, I'm just like, oh wow, I mean that's true. Like, what do you see, and does it help you?
Yeah. What I love about this conversation that it starts is that it's an open-ended question. It doesn't make any assertions or affirmations. It asks the audience the question. And for me, those moments in this film harken back to what I love about Doctor Strange 1. Those questions of existentialism, those questions of meaning, those questions of purpose, and that they are just questions. Like, we don't really have the answer. You have to find for that mechanism that propels you forward.
And that's part of the journey. She ends up finding that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Speaking of propels, little wings on your feet that help you fly. Namor.
Namor.
What did you think I was talking about?
Hermes.
Oh, he also has little wings on his feet. Does he fly, or does he just run fast?
I think he runs fast.
Okay.
I mean, I assume he should be able to fly,
Yeah.
but I think he just runs fast.
Namor. Maybe I'm biased because, again, you know, Hispanic, Latino, the heart and soul of this movie for me.
Bro, I thought he was sick.
Namor made me feel a lot better about a lot of things. I'll say off the bat, we talked about it a couple of episodes ago. Did not enjoy Black Adam. Okay. I dig Jason Momoa's take on Aquaman as like a Samoan,
I dig his Aquaman. I don't dig his movie.
Yes, I don't think that they lean in on that. For me, Namor is a better Aquaman than Aquaman and a better Black Adam than Black Adam. So morally, I won't even say ambiguous. He's the bad guy in this film, very clearly. But you can't help but root for him in a sense.
He's antagonistic to our cause, to the people that we root for.
He's like Killmonger.
Yes. And you know what? Like,
similar characters.
Yeah. I don't even know how to describe it, though, because it's almost like Shades of Grey, but clearly the shadow, the dark side of this story.
I think there is more shades of gray. I think that he's protective of his people, and he's
I mean, not Killmonger though, right?
But even then
not Killmonger. No,
his motivation is fair. Maybe you don't.
No,
agree
Killmonger
with
is blinded by rage.
Yeah,
I think that,
but he's not wrong though.
But it's rage against the system,
the machine.
Yeah, I think that Namor is just he's lived a very long life. He's seen like how humans are. He's seen the worst of them, and I think that he knows better, and that's why he tries to keep it a secret as much as possible, and he feels like under threat. So once the threat of like, oh, people might know of our existence, and I might have to see slavery all over again of my people, where people are going to try and, exploit us for our resources and us as a people, then he gets really defensive. He doesn't go about it in the right way at all, I don't think. But I think him as a leader, and I don't know if like in the movie it was ambiguous, because like there are stuff that he says that I'm like, I agree. I see where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. And what I meant before when I said, I think he's just like, I think there's a conflict of interest at some point between the two people, the people that obviously we root for. So whoever's against the people that we root for are obviously the bad guys. But at the end of the day, I also think like he is a person that is just trying to do what's best for his people. And though he might go about it in the wrong way, like going scorched earth and all that obviously isn't right. But at the same time, I don't think like he's completely like an evil character.
Yes.
We're able to relate to what he, as minorities, right? We're able to relate to what he's trying to protect, because history tells us that our ancestors didn't get protected from Europeans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we even see it nowadays here in America. We see the way some cultures are treated differently, right? And that angers us, right? It angers me a lot,
Yeah.
You know how vocal I can get about that.
The injustice.
The injustice, exactly, right?
Astounding.
So he is the bad guy in this movie, right? But he's trying to fight that system, protect his people from that system that can destroy them, right? That has caused a lot of harm to other people, right? And that's what I like about it. It's like, hey, he's protecting me.
Yeah.
He's protecting me from what? And that I enjoy that. I was able to relate to that.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
A lot some people were able to relate to Killmonger,
mm-hmm.
right? Like Killmonger represents, I don't know, but it's a mentality, right? Like of a lifestyle, of a culture, right? Of people who the system has also not been fair on them, and they're fed up by it.
Yeah. I think I've been reflecting on the events of the film, and I think that at certain points in the film, almost everyone is not heroic.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
And I think at any point, everyone is heroic. You can see that Namor has empathy, and he feels a sense of duty to his people. And I think that's honorable. I think what he has to do as a head of state is something that we don't approve of. But I think Shuri does that too at points in this film.
Yeah.
And I think that Everett Ross, he's a good guy. Valentina is a bad guy. They're on the same team though. And what they do, like, we don't want America to be destroyed by the Mariner people, right? But also, we don't approve of what...
We don't want America to get hold of vibranium.
Right, exactly.
To use it to...
Do whatever they want.
Yeah, and it's almost like this idea of that, like, of the nation state versus the individual.
Yeah.
And these people that are heads of state, they can't help but get their hands dirty because that's what the job is. And I don't think the film tells us whether it's okay or not. I don't think it seems like it is, but it's an impossible task.
Yeah.
You know,
being in leadership, it's not. Being the president, you get me, of a whole country.
Yeah.
You're gonna get your hands dirty no matter what. Like you go in with good intentions, you go in with a genuine heart, but in the end of the day, you're gonna get your hands dirty.
right? And it's the quote that you mentioned, Gabe, that the most broken people, make the best leaders. That makes me feel better about being so broken. It also doesn't make me want to be a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to be the most broken.
Yeah.
And it's a huge responsibility that because of the world that we live in, someone has to undertake. But man, I feel bad for Shuri and Namor and Everett Ross.
Armando.
Yeah, and everyone who has to like carry this kind of baggage that is really goes beyond what a person should have to.
Plus he's sick. As a character, that he's super cool. Like his scenes flying.
Oh, he's so awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, the CGI for his stuff was pretty.
It was
good
really
too.
good. It was actually really good. I was surprised. Like,
was
like
good.
how
There's other moments in this movie that not so much.
How they like approach like him like running on air instead of just like flying. Like flying.
It's like stepping, right?
Because it's like what you said about Hermes. I immediately went to the comic books where you see Namor running on the water, like air, like he's running fast enough, and it's that he's like hop skipping.
Like he's like either playing soccer or football or basketball or something. Like he's literally just like doing a dance in the sky.
Yeah,
and I thought that was sick. I like the actor.
Yeah, he did good, man. Has he done anything before?
Not sure.
I don't think so.
I
don't think he's done a lot. From what I've read.
Not anything like at the forefront of all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did really good.
He did great.
Okay. I'm sure that people have seen it. There's kind of I believe they said it was Aztec. Was it Aztec?
Or, yeah, it has to be Aztec, yeah.
It was an Aztec influence, a reinterpretation of this character. But they went all the way with it.
Yeah. Unlike like how you said, unlike
Momoa as Aquaman.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like they didn't really change Atlanteans and what their culture is to mirror. It's just a guy playing the role, which is great. It's a good step forward. But they went 100% in shifting this, placing it in, the Spanish.
Even to his name.
Yeah, even his name, right. The boy without love, right?
Yeah.
Sin Namor.
Sin Namor.
Yeah, Namor. So like they went all in, everything from the name to his clothes, the piercing in the nose, tying it in to Aztec mythology, all the drawings on the walls, the pyramids, the mythology, the language. I loved it. I'm not Mexican. I'm Hispanic though, as we mentioned. We all are here on the show, and this is one of the things I think we've complained about in the past. I know my wife's constantly complaining about it. Not representation for us, and for this to happen in Black Panther 2, I mean, it's both very appropriate, but also very surprising, I thought.
And how they nailed it, I think.
Yeah.
How they did such a great job.
I was going to say, what are you talking about? We got America Chavez, multiverse, Hispanic from another universe.
Which I appreciate, baby stuff.
That's not Hispanic at all.
Well, I mean, I guess then you have to cancel like all the Star Wars characters because they're not from any Hispanic countries either. Poe and Andor, they're from planets.
Yeah, they have accents.
Oh, okay. Also, Hispanics without accents aren't Hispanic. So you specifically, we all have accents, by the way. Yeah. Everyone has an accent.
Yeah.
Okay. But going back to the point, I do appreciate baby steps like that. But that character, like another character in this movie, which we'll talk about shortly, is kind of a plot device and underdeveloped. Namor gets a lot of time here. And this is one thing I said. At first, I wasn't crazy about the blue people, which I'm still not. We've kind of hinted at. You guys seen the trailers. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm pretty sure you have if you're listening to this at this point. But like a lot of Avatar vibes.
Yeah.
I think the blue skin was a poor choice. But once we get to the part where they tell us the origin story,
it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It. Yeah,
and I bought into it. Yeah. It didn't stop me from still feeling the same thing later on in the final battle. Yeah. But like the story makes sense. In any other movie, I thought maybe you would take a piece of Namor's origin, start the movie with it, and then give context to it through the narration in the middle. But you can't start this movie without the death of.
I thought, but
Chadwick.
I like obviously like I get that, but I also thought it was cool how they did it.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting. It was a conversation. It was a conversation that he's having with the lead.
Yeah.
And it's not like a hostile conversation.
Yeah.
Even though he like
threatens to kill.
I kinda
afterwards, but
Yeah.
kind of wanted Shuri to end up with Namor.
That would have been a very interesting twist to
Yeah,
the story.
I don't think it's gonna happen now, but enemies turn into lovers.
Lovers turn into enemies again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are my thoughts. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's fantastic. A character that wasn't that fantastic, not for any reason of her own or the character itself, but I thought Riri Williams, Ironheart, I think she was kind of shoehorned into this movie.
I thought she was funny though.
Yeah,
I thought she was funny. I liked the actress.
I liked her too. I thought she was,
but I don't think that she was necessarily needed in the film.
Yeah, she wasn't needed.
I feel like this is like one of the plugs we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like she's getting a TV show, put her in there.
Yeah, let's sell her now in a way that it was so natural with Chadwick to be in Civil War and go through an arc before we're introduced. I guess they tried to do that here. There's just too much baggage in this movie
it's
already.
not the worst thing in the world, but at the same time, it's a lot of moving parts that you're introducing a new character for us to take on. But that being said, I like the actress.
Yeah,
and I think she's gonna do a good job. I think she kind of has, she really stepped into it. She leaned into it. I don't think she didn't seem like hesitancy or like,
right.
I don't know. I think she did a good job, and I think her show's gonna be good. I do hope that something changes with that suit. But
yeah, you did not like the final design.
I didn't like that suit. I didn't like the other suit that they made.
Well, the other suit was really bad, but I think it was bad on purpose. Yeah.
It's a combination of Baymax mixed with Ultron.
The final suit?
Yeah.
Her suit, Riri's suit.
Not
felt
Ultron the MCU, Ultron the anime.
I felt it was like Samus Aran.
Also, they
She had
showed
these big things on her shoulder.
They
and
showed
like
that
a
in
visor.
I mean, from what my understanding, they showed that in the trailer. I didn't watch it.
That suit?
Yeah.
Really?
I thought I saw like pictures of it.
I had seen the prototype, and remember I told you this can't be what she looks like in the movie, right? And you're like, that's gonna be the first one, and it was, but I hadn't seen the.
She very Iron Man vibes.
Well, because she's tied to Iron Man in the comics, but that's not present in this movie, and maybe they'll explore that on the show.
Yeah.
But I feel like audiences
kind of need to know who she is.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, "What a fake Iron Man."
She did the whole hammering, and then the lights shutting off.
They name drop Star Trek, Stark Tech.
She busts out the suit. She has the whole flying over the city at night and like getting up in the sky, then falling down.
Yeah, the completely the scene from Iron Man 1. Yeah.
But yeah,
she's no Iron Man.
And Spider-Man as well.
And Spider-Man.
Spider-Man falls.
Yeah, remember? He's up high. And
Homecoming.
He ends up falling. And he ends up getting saved by Iron Man. Actual Iron Man, not
Riri Williams.
No, not a robot.
Oh, okay. Which is what you wanted, right? A robot Black Panther at the end of this movie.
Yeah, I was like, come on, just tell me that Tony made a Black Panther suit for them in case it's ever happened. There's no one in there.
Gabe whispered this.
It's just
in
the
the middle
Black
of the
Panther
movie.
suit.
He's like, we're gonna get a Black Panther robot, and I went up to him. I was like, we're gonna get a Black Panther Megazord, where it's like
they just all join together.
Yeah, like Nakia, Shuri, Ramonda, Riri,
Ross, throw Ross in there too.
M'Baku, they all get.
M'Baku was really cool too, man.
Yeah, M'Baku. Well, that's one thing that's great about this movie is that that a lot of characters get more time. Yeah. So we're able to explore that. Speaking of which, okay, M'Baku, who you mentioned Lupita's character, Nakia, they get fleshed out more heroic moments. I know some people were saying that maybe she should have taken the mantle of Black Panther.
I don't think that would fit the character.
I think so too. I don't think
the complete opposite of who she is.
Especially where she ends up. Full spoilers. The final scenes in this movie. I don't want to go into it because that's really like, if you know what we're talking about, you know what we're talking about. Her journey is going to go a completely different way. So I really like the way they're setting that up. But Everett Ross, and his ex-wife, Contessa Valentina
Contessa de
Fontaine. Yeah. I like that this character keeps coming back, and I think they did a really good job.
I think it's gonna pay off.
Does he only come back for Black Panther movies?
He was in Civil War, and he was in the Black Panther movies. But she was in
all the shows.
Black Widow,
almost all the shows.
Yeah, and Black Widow. She'll be in the Thunderbolts movie. So all the shows and movies that at this point. Almost.
I guess she is the new Ross.
She's like
General Ross.
She's the new Anti-Fury, I think.
Yeah.
That's what she is. I think we're gonna get a new Ross, right? Supposedly.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we're gonna literally get.
That's crazy.
Supposedly, right? Is that it hasn't been confirmed, right?
But Christopher Plummer.
Christopher is
passed away.
Passed away. Yeah, rest in peace.
What?
Talk about
he died?
Grief and loss. Yeah.
When?
It's been a little bit.
What?
Yeah.
Right after Knives Out, I think.
Yeah.
Dang. That's my replacement there. Danny DeVito.
Wait,
do
you
you not
know who it is?
No, I don't know who it is.
Harrison
Ford.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah. So he's going to be allegedly the new General Ross.
Sick.
Christopher Plummer.
So what is the theme here? What is this film? What did you get out of it?
To me, it was just, navigating through grief and not grieving properly, the results of it. You don't grieve properly, not only does it affect you, it affects people around you. And if you're the leader of a nation, it's going to affect your nation.
Is that a veiled comment to a leader of a nation?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he said urination. I thought he said urination.
If you're the leader of urination.
Yeah.
The P Lord.
But yeah, I joked around. I said that Wakanda has all this technology, right? One of the best, most futuristic cities in the world. Yet Suri couldn't get proper mental health care, like someone taking care of her, like a therapist.
Well, there's still a lot of hangups about that.
The thing is that you need to be open to it. And I don't think Shuri's in a state to say that she's open to it.
The first step is knowing you have a problem.
Exactly.
I think it's learning not to move on, but to live with. I don't know that you ever move on from death.
You learn how to handle it.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because the ghosts of our past, they kind of stay with us, and we think that we're in a better place, and when we least expect it, they kind of revisit us. And I mean, I don't know what kind of personal loss you guys have been through, and you're like, well, I mean, I guess I have some idea, but I don't know what kind of personal loss our viewers and listeners have been through. But I think that it manifests itself in lots of different ways, and sometimes it's very difficult to get over it, if there even is any getting over it, so to speak.
No, yeah, and I mean, obviously with this film, I think the theme, you're right, I think it is grief and finding a way to deal with grief, not necessarily overcoming grief. But like you said, I think grief comes in different forms. In this movie, a sister and a mother lose a son and a brother.
Yeah.
A nation loses its king, its protector. And I mean, other things that happen in the film, but I think that specifically deals with death. And I know how we mentioned Chadwick passed away. And I mean, there's these personalities. It happens. Unfortunately, it's just the reality of life. These people pass away. These people who are, so
you don't think about it, but just this morning when we're recording this, we got word that Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman and Batman the Animated Series, the Arkham series of games, up to recently DC Multiverse, the new game that we've talked about in the past, someone synonymous with a character that's so, quote, important to us, but it really does become part of who you are, because you have a vested interest in this. His name has come up on this show before. We talk about this person because we know them on some level. We talked just a couple of weeks ago, Link shared an anecdote from we had attended my grandmother's remembrance ceremony, her funeral per se, right? And you just move on. Like you suffer these real life tragedies. You hear of these people that you purport to know on some level, and we're sitting here just a couple of hours from that news, and it hasn't really fully hit me yet. Like this is the end of a chapter in my life. Maybe not the most important chapter, but it's the end of a chapter in this world. Like starting tomorrow, Batman exists without this man's voice. Yeah. And on some level, that character has lost something.
It's changed.
Forever. It's changed. It never will be what it was under the care of Kevin Conroy. Yeah. So, our thoughts and prayers and our hearts and minds go out to, to his family in this time and in this loss. We look back at our own personal loss the past couple of weeks and other losses too, because it's not just limited to death, right?
Oh yeah, I think that loss and grief don't necessarily have to only be with death, even though death feels so finite. I think that loss is attributed to other things, like losing a friendship or a relationship, or even losing something within ourselves. Mm-hmm. that it's just it, like you said, things change. Things are different. We become different people, and going back to, like, that's the reality of life. And finding a way to, first of all, deal with that, and learning that there is an issue or a problem, and because you can be in denial for the longest time, about a certain situation with someone or with yourself. And so I think realizing that there is a problem, realizing that maybe this person isn't going to be in your life anymore, it is like the first step, but it's terrifying, especially like depending on how close this person is to you, or whatever your relationship to anything might be, how close and how deep you are in it. The fact that, like, just the thought of like you losing something like that is terrifying. And I've gone through my fair share of heartbreaks and things like that. And I can tell you, like, there's physical pain, but when emotional pain hits you, there's nothing like it in this world. Like,
the worst.
When it's your mind that's affected.
Yeah.
Because your body for the most part can heal. Your body can do amazing things, and it can heal. Mm-hmm. And I mean, your mind can too, but the toll that it takes on you and how it even affects the rest of your body is incredible. It's just, it's tough to understand the process unless you really go through it.
Yeah.
And when you do go through it, I don't wish that on anyone, because it's so, like, heartbreaking and gut wrenching that you feel like you don't want to do anything. You feel like, what's the point? And I mean, there's so many different things when people deal with mental illness and depression, and sometimes, like, as what happened with Chadwick, like, some people, sometimes they don't speak up about it, or they suffer in silence. Mm-hmm. And then you find out about after, like, what the story was, and it's heartbreaking. You feel like, I'm an empathetic. I feel like I consider myself to be an empathetic person. I feel a lot for people, especially, like, I may not be in their position or in this situation, but I feel like I can, like, put my shoes in. Like, that still gets to me.
Yeah.
But when it does happen in my own life, like, I can tell you, like, it's one of the worst things in the world, and I don't wish that on anybody. I mean, in my life, I haven't had a lot of either family members pass away or like that. Like, there have been some, and some friends as well, but like, I think what I can attribute my personal relationship with grief and loss is mainly to friendships and relationships, and with people that it hurts. It's a different type of hurt. Mm-hmm. And it's like one of those things that I look to for either my family, you guys, my friends, what I believe in, and what keeps me going is, I mean, like we always talk about, is hope.
Yeah.
Is hope to move on, to move forward. And sometimes it really is hard to move forward. And do you think about it, like, do you ever really move
on?
No.
I don't think so.
No, some things just stay with you
Yeah.
for the rest of your
Yeah,
life.
it's a weight that you carry. You learn to carry the weight and move forward.
And
you don't move on.
And that goes back to being those people that are broken, to be able to be in a situation where they can make the right decision for a group of people. And yeah, this whole experience of watching this movie and the things that have going on in my life recently, it's just kind of like it seems like a kind of like a closing and then hopefully to a new beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just this theme of trying to move forward, maybe not get over or move on, but like just move forward in life and, you know, step into your future and where you're going from that.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Link?
I once got lost in Alcatraz. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of scary. An island. But there is hope.
You
for
found
a future.
hope?
But I found hope when I found my family. And I wasn't lost anymore.
Happy for you.
Thank you.
And I think that's what I don't want to say saves this film.
I would say yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because now I don't want to spoil the movie.
Okay. Well, in indirect terms.
No,
Okay.
I'm hopeful that I know I'm going to see Black Panther again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that too.
It's just the sad part is that it's not going to be. I'm not sure how soon.
Yeah. But we have this hope.
But we have this hope
that there is a future
with Black Panther,
with a king sitting on his throne.
Yes.
Until that day, keep searching.
Wakanda forever.